I've spent my whole life in the corner, forcing a smile through applause meant for someone else, while no one in the room truly saw me. I'm James, 29, and until last Saturday, I thought I'd made peace with how my family treated me. I thought I'd grown used to being cropped out of family photos on my mom's wall, accustomed to the little jabs at dinner I pretended not to hear. I was wrong, very wrong. That Saturday, something inside me shattered, and when I grabbed the mic, I didn't just speak, I unleashed 30 years of silence in front of everyone who'd ignored me. Growing up, I quickly realized my older brother Eric was the center of everything. Not the usual, he's older, he gets more kind of favoritism. This was blatant, etched into my earliest memories. Eric scored a soccer goal, and Mom baked a cake, hung balloons, and framed his photo in the living room for weeks. I won first place at a regional science fair, and she mumbled, "Nice job, sweetie," without looking up from her phone. Dad left when I was 6, a long story I won't dig into, leaving Mom to raise us alone. But really, she only raised Eric. I was a ghost, hovering on the edges of the family, trying hard, studying, staying out of trouble, hoping she'd notice me someday. It was useless. I was screaming into a void. Eric could do no wrong, even when he did. When he got caught drunk driving in college, Mom turned it into a charming tale. Boys will be boys, my aunts chuckled every Thanksgiving. I was the one who bailed him out with my savings, never got a thank you. Then came last weekend, Mom's retirement party. She'd been a public school teacher for 35 years. A community hall was rented, catering, decorations, a grand slideshow. Eric, of course, was the MC. I'd handled everything behind the scenes, booked the caterers, made the slides, sent the invites, but I was just another guest. No mention in the introductions, no thanks. I was used to it, so I sat near the back, clapping along. Then Eric spoke. With the swagger of someone praised daily, he lauded Mom's dedication, her sacrifices, all true. He grinned, "Mom, thank you for raising me alone. You gave me everything, made me who I am." The room laughed in agreement. But Mom, she laughed hard, not a humble chuckle, but a deep, real laugh, like it was the best joke ever. She snatched the mic from Eric and said, "Yeah, because he was the only one worth raising." Time froze. My heart seized. My aunts nodded, one whispering loud enough for the table to hear. Eric really was a blessing. James was just there. It felt like a cold blade slicing through my chest. I could have stayed silent like always, but this time, pride, pain, or 30 years of invisibility pushed me to my feet. My hands shook, not from fear, but from a weight I'd carried too long. I walked forward, eyes turning to me. Eric looked puzzled. Mom frowned, like I dared interrupt her moment. The MC handed me the mic, and I faced the crowd, Mom's coworkers, relatives, neighbors, who only knew her version of our family. "Hi, I'm James," I began, voice steady. "Elaine's other son, if you didn't know." A few laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. "I wasn't going to speak today," I went on. Thought this was her moment, but I heard something that needs clearing up. The room fell silent. Aunt Louise cleared her throat like a warning, but I didn't stop. Mom raised him alone, sure. Late shifts, parent-teacher meetings, sacrifices. But she had 2 sons. One got the spotlight, the support. The other got this, a chance to speak into a mic because no one thought I would. Eric stiffened. Mom crossed her arms, worried not for me, but her image. I wanted to stop, but I needed to be heard. I'm talking about forgotten birthdays, parent-teacher meetings she skipped, art shows she missed, soccer games I sat through alone. She laughed at Eric's mugshot. I got grounded for a B in math. Silence swallowed the room. My voice trembled, not fear, but anger. I wasn't raised. I was ignored. The air held its breath. I was about to reveal the day Dad left, the secret Mom buried, when her eyes met mine. A tiny head shake, almost imperceptible, but to me it was thunder. I remember that day perfectly. I was 6, Eric 10. Dad held a suitcase, hugged Eric, ruffled his hair, and said, "You're the man of the house now." He glanced at me, blinked like I wasn't there, and walked out. I cried, soft, confused sobs, looking to Mom for comfort. She stared down and said, "He was never yours. Don't act like you lost anything." That line buried me for years. Now her look dragged it back. I gripped the mic tighter. "I was 6, I said, voice quaking but sharp. "And I remember what you said when Dad left. You told me I didn't lose anything, that he wasn't mine. I believed you. I thought if even you saw me as worthless, I must be." Gasps rippled. A few hands covered mouths. I lived years thinking I was the problem, not good enough, not interesting enough to be loved like Eric. I stayed quiet when you forgot 3 birthdays in a row, when you paid for Eric's college but left me with loans, when you said I left home out of selfishness, when really I left because this family made me feel like I didn't exist. Eric shifted. James, calm down, he said. You're overreacting, not now. I turned cold. When, Eric? When you're the golden child again? When they flip through albums where I'm cut out? You've had 30 years of speeches, 30 years as the only one worth raising. I get 10 minutes. He sank back. I scanned the crowd, faces once smiling now uneasy. This isn't jealousy, I said, cutting off assumptions. Not about wanting the spotlight. It's about a mother of 2 raising one son and telling the other, every day in 100 small ways, he wasn't enough, wasn't wanted, was a regret. Mom stood, slow. You don't know how hard it was, she said, not angry, but like I was a kid who couldn't get it. I kept the house together, worked 2 jobs. Your dad left me with nothing. I did my best. No, I shot back. You gave Eric your best. You gave me silence. We locked eyes, the air suffocating. Then her mask slipped. You're always so dramatic, she sneered, voice dripping disdain. Always the victim. Poor James, unloved. That's why no one connects with you, even your father. I cut her off, low and lethal. Don't bring him into this. You let him abandon me. You watched him hug one son and ignore the other, and you agreed. The silence grew heavier. I realized she wasn't shocked or ashamed, just annoyed I'd ruined her perfect tale. The strong single mom, the golden son. I faced the crowd. Eric, thank her for raising you alone if you want, but don't pretend I wasn't there. Don't let her act like this was some noble sacrifice. She had 2 sons and picked one. I turned to leave when applause broke out. Slow, hesitant, not the whole room, but a few started. A coworker of Mom's nodded as I passed. It wasn't about the claps, it was about being seen. Then a voice called, James, wait. Not Mom, not Eric. Aunt Denise, the quiet one who brought sweet potato casserole to holidays, never raised her voice. Her chair scraped as she stood and every head turned. She walked to me, deliberate, eyes on me, not Mom smirking, expecting a reprimand. But she hugged me, tight, real, like making up for lost years. When she pulled back, her voice broke. I should have spoken up long ago. Mom froze. Denise turned to the room, not theatrical, but firm. You all saw it. Don't pretend you didn't. We let her act like she had one perfect kid and James was a shadow to endure. She recounted forgotten birthdays, plays Mom skipped, my valedictorian speech she left halfway through because Eric felt off. Just a headache, she said, voice fading, and no one spoke up. I'm sorry, James, for staying silent. I choked, not sadness, but relief, like a weight I'd forgotten dropped away. A coworker of Mom's stood. I worked with Elaine 20 years. Never knew she had another son. She only talked about Eric. Murmurs spread. Others rose, hesitant, stunned. Cousin Evan muttered, I thought you were just quiet, man. Didn't know. Mom went still, smile gone, hands clenched. Eric paled, like his borrowed light flickered. Mom stepped forward, voice icy. Satisfied? You humiliated me, turned my retirement into a circus. I replied, calm. No, you did that when you laughed and said I wasn't worth raising. She stared long, then said, Think I had a choice? After your dad left, I was drained. I picked the easier one, who didn't question, didn't demand. You picked easy, I said, not right. She turned away, no apology, grabbing her drink like it could erase this. It couldn't. I wasn't done. One more thing, about Dad, I said, soft but cutting. Mom blanched, knowing what came. He didn't leave on his own. You gave him an ultimatum, Eric or me. Gasps echoed, a glass clinked hard. You told him if he stayed for me, you'd take Eric, vanish, change your name. He chose wrong. I'd met Dad 2 years back. He found me, confessed over diner coffee, voice shaky. Your mom said if I didn't cut you out, she'd take Eric and disappear. I believed her. I faced Mom. You kept that lie 30 years, made yourself the hero, erased me. She stood, no strength left, just cornered. You think you know it all? She rasped, feeble. No, I said, but I'm done pretending you were right. I looked at Eric, still mute. I don't blame you, Eric. You played her script. But you're not a kid now. You knew the truth and said nothing. He flinched. I didn't wait for a reply. I stepped down, handed off the mic, and left the hall. No one stopped me. For the first time, I wasn't fleeing a family. I was walking to my peace. After my phone buzzed, texts from relatives, Mom's coworkers, apologies, shock, calling me brave. Denise messaged, proud, promising support. Eric emailed a rambling note ending, "I want to fix this if you'll let me." Maybe I'll reply, maybe not. That's mine to decide now. Mom hasn't reached out. Word is she's spinning her tale, claiming I hijacked her day, twisted facts. Let her live in that world. She doesn't define me anymore.